Zone 5 is the community's newest buzz right now, because the JToH tryhards beat Paradise Atoll in like an hour, and seem to not understand that there are players who are worse than them that need a little more time. All jokes aside, Zone 5 is likely going to be the final area release of 2021. It is going to feature 15 towers, which compared to the rings is quite a few more towers than what we are used to. But now with all 9 of the rings in the Great Inferno complete, unless a World 3 shows up, which I've been told is likely after Zone 6, we are going to be stuck with the 14 to 18 towers in each future zone. In this video, I am not going to be judging the towers themselves, because I do not play towers before release. Instead, I'm going to be judging the zone itself, talking about the lobby, the difficulty progression, and I even get into a little bit of some of the tower picks themselves. Just note, I have not played any Zone 5 tower. Then, I get to play a fun game and make a prediction when Zone 5 will finally release. I hope you guys are ready for my release date prediction, because this is the most complex a release guess can get. So without further ado, let's go right into talking about Zone 5 and talk about the difficulty chart. Because, oh my god, there is a lot to talk about. Zone 5 is supposed to be the first zone in the spatial system that is a little more difficult. It's the first zone to not feature an easy difficulty tower. We may not ever see another easy difficulty tower again in JToH. At least not for an insanely long time. The spatial system is copying a lot of the general progress from the Great Inferno, which personally I am not a fan of. Why are we comparing World 2 to World 1 in terms of progress, when they're literally two completely different entities? Personally, I wish the JToH dev team would stop copying the progress line that World 1 did, but oh well, we get what we get. I could make a whole video about how the progression in the spatial system, in my opinion, is messed up, but that's beside the point. The point of this segment is talking about the difficulty lineup for Zone 5, which was something nearly everybody got salty about when we saw it. Let's just say that. For those of you who don't know, in the JToH Discord, the JToH team actually shows what towers are confirmed for Zone 5, and what towers are placed in beginner, intermediate, advanced, and psychologically unsafe after all towers are confirmed for that classification. They also show the difficulties that can be put into each of these categories. So, for example, the advanced towers allow challenging and intense towers. However, the intermediate section only allowed difficult and challenging towers as well. It seems confusing, however basically what it's saying is that the lower end challengings go in the intermediate section, and the higher ends go into the advanced section. So what's the problem? Well, when the advanced towers got filled in, the JToH player base got a surprise. There were no challenging towers put into the advanced towers. Instead, there were all intense towers. Plus, to make matters even more interesting, the Citadel itself was also confirmed as intense difficulty, Citadel of Corporate Enterprise. This sparked a lot of confusion, as there was a ton of competition for the challenging difficulty. Many towers seemed very promising, and now the JToH team completely slashed it, meaning that the entire difficult and challenging competition was confined to 4 slots, which were both very intense and very heated lineups for towers to be put into the game itself. So now you might think, well, there are 4 intense towers confirmed already. Wouldn't they use all 3 of the psychologically unsafe tower slots for remorseless towers? They said they'd put the challengings in the advanced towers, but they didn't. So they could do the exact same thing again for the psychologically unsafe towers, right? Psych! Instead, they put in a 5th intense tower in Zone 5, and only put 2 remorseless towers in there when there's also a heated remorseless competition. Plus, one of those remorseless towers was Tower of Zany Architecture, which pretty much no one was giving a shit about. So in a way, the community thought ToH's was a blindside, because of all the other very promising remorseless towers that the community thought that we were actually getting. But no, instead we get this. So here is the final difficulty line for Zone 5, and personally, I am rather annoyed by this. The difficulties that had the most competition had very few slots, or got rigged all over together. Now there's 5 intenses in Zone 5. You're f***ing kidding me, right? Zone 5 is basically they changed the easy tower slot and one of the remorseless tower slots to intense, and the extreme tower got switched to terrifying. Considering all the promising towers that I thought had a 100% chance of getting in, getting screwed over for a reason that a third of the entire zone being intense is a little sad, to be honest. I thought Zone 5 was supposed to be harder than Zone 4. While yes it is, there's literally only 2 remorseless towers in Zone 5. There's 2 peak rems in Zone 4. I honestly wouldn't be too mad though if the intense difficulty had an insanely heated up competition, but it didn't. In a way though, the 5th intense tower, Tower Fortifying Experiences, is around peak intense difficulty, so in a way it's a compromise. However, Zone 4 has Tower of Funky Grooves, which is also peak intense difficulty. But when the 5th zone is supposed to be harder than Zone 4, they put in one less remorseless tower slot in. It's definitely a kick in the gut for many JToH players, including myself. My only explanation as to why I guess this is a balancing issue because Zone 1 had 4 remorseless towers? I got no clue, Chief. I am not going to get into too much about this in this video, but some of the tower picks were insanely questionable. With the amount of insane competition with so many promising towers for Zone 5, I am genuinely disappointed about the picks they chose, especially the really poor decision to put 5 intenses in, considering one of those intense towers was Tower of Guided Trials. Let's just say this tower has not been sitting very well in our stomachs. Although I personally haven't touched it yet, considering the design from afar looks like Tower of Infuriating Obstacles, I'm scared. Okay, so the tower lineup and the difficulty lineup is rather bad. So what about the lobby? Well, we do have some teasers of it, and considering there isn't as much as Paradise Atoll, I am willing to go over them one by one. This is the first teaser we got, which depicts a massive dome-like structure inside the zone. It also has some difficulties of the game from easy up to insane, which also includes the Thanos sub-difficulty. When I saw this picture, I was rather excited, because the dome seems really small to fit 15 towers in it. So I thought this could be like Zone 3, where there's multiple levels to the lobby, which could be very cool. Back to this later. Good news, guys! Unlike Zone 4, we actually have terrain! Holy shit, land is a thing. We actually get to see a few more pictures of the terrain itself, but it seems like the main pizzazz of the 5th zone's terrain is crystals. But back to what I was saying earlier. Remember when I said that I was hoping there would be multiple levels of the lobby in Zone 5? Sadly, I think this is unlikely, because here's a teaser image of Citadel of Corporate Enterprise, the Citadel for Zone 5. Citadels do get special treatment, so I believe if there was a second level in the lobby, COCE would have been put there. However, there could be a chance that it's reserved for TOPZ and TOAR, the 2 soul crushings for Zone 5. While I know that Tower of Hopeless Hell is on the first level in its own area in Zone 3, doesn't mean no copy Zone 3 exactly. But you can see more of the terrain in this image. And we also get a better idea of the size of the dome. It's bigger than I initially thought, but will it be too cramped to put in 15 towers? I guess we'll have to see on release day. Oh, and also, Crystal Alert! This teaser from July 4th shows what I guess is the interior lobby of Zone 5, which shows this lab-looking thing with crystals on the table. Also, a mushroom specimen in the back. Rather interesting. If I had to guess, this is one of the portal rooms in Zone 5, because the JToH team loves to tease the portal areas rather than the actual lobby itself. I do find it interesting that this is the 2nd zone in a row that has an industrial, science-y kind of theme. Wonder if this is part of the lore for World 2. What's actually funny is I wrote the script for this video on the 16th. Guess what just got teased 2 days later? Yep, you guessed it, the beginner tower portal room. Well, in specific, Tower of Sovereign Traveling. It looks very simple, but really cool. I am really impressed with how the lobby itself looks so far. It seems like it will be very fun to explore around. Unfortunately, that's all the teasers for Zone 5 that we have so far. I do have some concerns though for Zone 5 outside the lobby whatsoever. Zone 4 was supposed to be the moon, until the JToH team f***ed the theme up and had to change it to the exosphere, extending the zones up to 10. It seems like Zone 5 is just attempt 2 at the theme they messed up earlier. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm scared that we will see the same ring perimeter shape the towers were put in that Zone 4 had. It doesn't help my concerns when the first tower we see in Zone 5 itself is COCE, which is sitting on the outer border right next to the dome. Granted, pretty much every JToH area's lobby is in the center, but I really hope it isn't a copy-paste of Zone 4's area. However, I unfortunately believe this isn't the case. Zone 5 could be a massive crater. Notice the large terrain drop-off in the COCE image? I wonder if most of the zone is underground. However, depending on how deep it is, the dome is going to seem rather weird, but I am sure the JToH team has something up their sleeves. Or it's just like Zone 4 where everything's on the outer perimeter except TOAR. Let me sum up what I unfortunately believe could be the case. Zone 5 is basically a reskin of Zone 4 with terrain, a questionable lineup of towers, and towers that don't even fit. Oh, let's go ahead and talk about that now. After towers were confirmed for Zone 5, Vendetta elaborated, considering that the zones are the only place the towers can go, the towers do not need to fit. And personally, this is not a good attitude in my books. Considering already Zone 5 seems like a reskin Zone 4, playing a red horror themed tower with an entire moon atmosphere around it doesn't seem right and rather out of place. Unless they do a good job of fitting the towers into the zone, it's going to feel weird. I am afraid that because of all these towers that feel like they don't belong, the zone is going to feel messy. While everybody has pretty much vented to me that I shouldn't give a shit about design or if stuff fits, but be honest, I know 90% of you are going to complain on release that the zone is too messy. In my opinion, what the JToH team should do is move Tohi, the Peak Intense Tower, to Ring 9, as it would fit much better there and would give the ring another Intense Tower. Then move Tower of Beat Block Berserk to Zone 5, giving the zone its much needed Remorseless Tower. It would fit very well in Zone 5, and it also bridges a gap. Tohi fits in Ring 9 and also bridges a gap. It's a win-win. Let me know what you think. I am not a fan of the lineup of towers that are in Zone 5, as you already know. However, I am going to be optimistic that Zone 5 is set in a crater and that the towers will be everywhere around the crater itself, so it feels like the zone has its own identity to it. So yeah, personally, I am not that excited for Zone 5. Very disappointing difficulty and tower lineups, and multiple towers that may feel completely out of place, making the zone feel messy. The JToH team has a lot in my eyes to redeem for Zone 5, to be an amazing zone. I've been excited for Zone 5 to come out so the JToH team can work on something better, not for the zone itself. I was more excited for Paradise Atoll to release rather than Zone 5. Am I saying Zone 5 will be bad? No! Zone 5 is still going to be a blast to play, definitely. However, like I said, for what Zone 5 could have been, it's rather saddening. I really hope that's going to be a massive crater or something unique. If it's the same boring ring formation that Zone 4 has, I think many will be disappointed. I think the JToH team knows that. So let's hope the best for the lobby, even if the towers aren't what we wanted. Remember, this is my personal opinion, and I am in no way, shape, or form trying to manipulate you, because apparently that's what the JToH community's favorite thing to claim when a YouTuber says an opinion they don't agree with. Enough of my debatably bad opinions. Let's talk about release day, because trying to guess the release day is pretty fun for Zone 5 to say the least. I do have to say this every time, that this is not confirmed information, and that this is pure speculation here on out in this video. That goes too as well as that Zone 5 is in a massive moon crater. Remember in the Paradise Atoll video, when I talked about how I was going to elaborate more as to why I chose the PA release date I did? Well, I had a theory that after Zone 5's lobby would be finished, they would go ahead and try to close out Paradise Atoll. And guess what? It seems like Ike was right. Urchin said after the video premiere was over that the lobby for Zone 5 was complete. Now this seems rather quick, and some people may question that this is fake. So, I need to introduce you to somebody known as Psychotic Mute, the game's newest developer. I talked to multiple developers and curators, and pretty much Psychotic is a little too motivated. Psy was part of building the PA lobby, and if you remember when the contest was finished, we already got full-on pictures of the area pretty much on day 2. So considering when the first Zone 5 teaser came to be, and she conveniently sent a full moon smiley face, something tells me Sai had a little bit too much caffeine the past few weeks. So I believe Urchin isn't lying here. But look at the wording. Urchin specifically said the lobby was finished. Could the terrain maybe not be finished? I find this unlikely. The terrain needs to be done so that the towers could be placed. What's the point of even confirming towers if you can't even place them? So I believe that Zone 5 is ready to be bug tested, and I got some great news. Remember the Ring 9 bug testing comparison? Well, if you watched the Paradise Atoll video, when it was first posted publicly, there were 2 or 3 towers bug tested. Phase 1 was completed 2 days later. Because Zone 5 is an actual area rather than a sub-realm, I believe that a quick bug test fiasco will happen, and boy oh boy, I predict the release date is going to be Thursday the 22nd. Ah, son of a bitch, we have a problem. This is why guessing the release day for Zone 5 is a very funny game to play. Because guess what got released a couple days ago? Paradise Atoll! There is no question the JToH team could get Zone 5 out the door in a week. But why should they, when most of the player base isn't even done with Paradise Atoll? Sure, most of the JToH player base are tryhards, and beat the sub-realm in 2 minutes. But the general JToH populace isn't close to being done with Paradise Atoll yet, and it won't be for a while. Even if they release Zone 5 too quickly, people won't be done sucking up all the new content yet. Then, hey, hello, here's 15 more towers for you to play in Zone 5, okay? Thanks, bye. Okay, so the JToH team will take their time and release it about a month later. Except, there's a second problem. When people said Paradise Atoll was a super buggy release and debatably worse than Ring 6's, I wasn't shocked. Because the thing is, the JToH team really wants to get all their done. Unfortunately, the JToH community doesn't sit and think about why their release was so buggy. But there's likely a reason why. The Halloween event! I know it sounds dumb to talk about Halloween in July, but when you make a boss fight, 3 to 5 steeples, a lobby, terrain, and all of that crap, it takes months! Unless your name is, of course, Psychotic Mute, then you pull a lobby out in 5 minutes. August is the month I like to call the Gray Zone. Sometime in this month, all major content for JToH is pretty much done for. All eyes are concentrated on trying to get the Halloween and Christmas events out for the year. Basically, there are 7 full months of the year when the development team can make permanent content. Then, they gotta make the events until the new year. So alas, the issue with Zone 5. If the JToH team sits and relaxes and goes, meh, we can wait a little, bug testing takes a while, we get into the end of August and Zone 5 needs to get fixed up, and guess what's going to get delayed? The Halloween event! But if they release it too early, noobs are going to be like, hey, I wasn't done with this yet. This is one of the rare times I think the JToH development team needs to make a secret release day so that this balancing act can be done optimally. I think due to the pressure of them needing to soon work on the 2021 Halloween event, after Zone 5's lobby was all done, they wanted to get PA out the door quickly so they could work on Halloween sooner. Pretty much, it's impossible to get an accurate release date for Zone 5, because I'm going to be honest, the JToH dev and staff team are not very intelligent. I am willing to put my money on the table, they're going to f*** up the balancing in one direction. However, they did release Paradise Atoll quicker than many expected. Considering this is a full-on area, the JToH team is going to be way more motivated to try and get it out the door. My real prediction for release day, this time it's not a joke, is Tuesday, August 10th. I believe when Vendetta shows the bug testing progress to the public for Zone 5, it is going to be released in less than 2 weeks due to the motivation the JToH team will have. Although, I will give my preemptive have fun to the JToH team on bug testing guided trials. You put this on yourselves. This is, in my eyes, a good balance. While many may not be done with PA yet, those using it for the Zone 5 unlock should have it. I would personally go in expecting a release that could be worse than Paradise Atoll due to the hastily required release, due to the Halloween event messing up their development schedule. However, that is not all. I am willing to give the JToH team some funny points if they release Zone 5 between the dates of August 7th to 11th, because these days I'll be on vacation with another fellow JToH community member. It would be insanely funny if they release Zone 5, and me and my friend will be stuck 10 hours away from home without a computer for a couple days. So if you guys do that, I'll be willing to give y'all some funny points. Well, that's it! Keep your eyes out on Zone 5, because this one will be interesting to watch. Will the JToH team release it too quick, or too late, or hit it just right on the nail? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.